And we're on.
Salam Asad, how are you doing?
Well, I was fine. I think we talked 10 seconds ago. I was just as fine as I was 10 seconds ago.
Yes, I know, I understand. It's a little formality. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. So, what are we discussing today?
Well, today I wanted you to talk about the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you have been explaining to us a lot of things from the Quran, but I want you to explain and talk what the Quran actually is.
Okay.
And
I mean, in any particular sense or like generally?
generally and also in a particular sense that explain to the viewers that the Quran is the guidance, and when we read the Quran, like you have to explain to us and taught us, that when we read the Quran with sincerity, turning to God, it brings us knowledge, and
Mm-hmm.
with that knowledge of the Quran we get wisdom.
Okay. I
And
mean, yeah, I mean, that's particular one part of it, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, you've already told them. I don't need to explain that to them. Yeah.
and also that the Quran does explain how we are to live our life and what our purpose is.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we can go into the details and generally speaking that. And the other point you were going to.
The usury and interest.
Okay. Interesting. We can spend about the next 3 days talking about that. Yeah.
Yes, I look forward to that.
But not online. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So, Quran. Yeah. The Quran, the word Quran comes from Iqra in Arabic. And Iqra means read. The command to read is Iqra, and Qur is to read, and Quran is reading. So Al Quran means the reading, which only God had to inspire to me, because all my life nobody told me what Quran meant. And then I told the rest of you. So
Yes.
now most of the world that can access this will know that Quran just means reading. It doesn't mean a knife coming at your heart. Yeah. Although metaphorically speaking, it actually is. Yeah. So the Quran is, like you already said, is the guidance of God to the mankind and the demon kind. Yeah. And it came to our brother Muhammad, the prophet, the messenger, the prophet, the illiterate, as I know him, came to him. I don't know how many years ago. They say 1400. I don't believe anything they tell me, but let's just consider 1400 odd years ago. So the Quran was sent by God to confirm the Torah. And the Torah is what came to our brother Moses, and it came also to confirm the Injil, so called Gospels, which came to our brother Messiah Jesus. That is what the fundamental crux of what the Quran is. It added nothing to the faith and law that came with Moses in the Torah, the tablets that he brought down from the mountain after 40 nights that he spent with God and his angels and his spirit, and came down with the whole explanation of everything and the law that God bestowed upon mankind to follow from then till the end of this creation that we're in, the trial that we're in this creation. So that what the Quran at the most fundamental level is. Now, what is in the Quran is the book, the wisdom, and the law, which is basically what the Torah is as well, and the Injil, which came to Jesus. And that book and wisdom is all the information and all the wisdom that God wants to give to us. I mean, book is any writing, yeah. So inside the reading, which is a writing as well, a book as well, the Quran is a book, is another book and wisdom, the writings of the book which came to Abraham actually, and other messengers before Moses. The book and the wisdom came to all messengers from Moses back to Abraham at least. And the law was added with Moses. So that book that came to Abraham is in this Quran, which is the book and the wisdom and the law that was sent to Moses. So basically, it covers everything of what's going to happen in this world with all of us, and what is the trial all about, and what happened before we were sent to this earth uh, to live this creation, this life, and then die and go back to God and be judged for what we did. So all that is written in this book, absolutely clearly, no doubt about that. Now, it is also referred to as the light and guidance from God. And that uh, name is also given to the Torah and the Injil in the Quran, the same exact definition, that it is the light and guidance from God, which in Arabic is nur, which is light, and huda, which is guidance. So both these things is also this Quran. And what else is the Quran? It is many things defined by the Quran itself. It's a warning, it's an information and warning as well. It's called informer and warner, just like the messenger and the prophet is called an informer and warner. The Quran is also called an informer and warner. So the messenger is here since Moses came and went, which is the Torah, the Injil, and the Quran. They're also messengers of God in their entirety, in their original forms. The Torah and the Injil, unfortunately, have been hidden and mutilated. The Bible, far more than the Quran, I mean, the Injil, the Quran has only been mutilated by what has been added outside of it. The Quran itself cannot be changed. The Quran is absolutely intact in the form that God sent it down to us, whatever, 1,000, 1,400 years ago. It cannot be changed. No matter what anybody talks about it, whatever they invent, or excuses, or contentions they bring, or arguments they bring to prove to you that it can be changed and has been changed, is all nonsense. It is a trial. If you fall for those arguments, you will lose yourself, which is your soul. You will lose nothing else but yourself. The only thing to lose in this life is your soul. And the way you lose your soul is to turn away from the truth. And then you define the lies to be truth and you become happy with that. So that's how we have to turn to the Quran as the truth and we against it as the lies. If you put yourself in that frame of mind, then you will intrinsically question yourself in everything you think or you know, except what you know clearly from the Quran. You will not challenge that if you know what is good for you. But most people think they know what's good for them and it's not the Quran. And that's where mankind ends up destroying their own souls. And as a whole, mankind destroys their own society every time. Each society is destroyed when the command of God arrives, and the command is coming. I mean, I'm part of that command of God that is coming to the earth, and it will come suddenly at the end. I mean, when you have a volcano erupt, it doesn't erupt in one go.
Mm.
Norm. There's a fuming, there's smoke comes up, people are warned, the birds fly away, the animals run away. There's warning. So this is what's happening. The warning is coming, and soon the volcano will erupt spectacularly. It has done many times before, and it's a metaphor, by the way. The actual
Yes.
volcano may or may not erupt, and it might as well. I mean, volcanoes erupt as well to destroy generations. It's not the only thing. So the other thing about the Quran is when you say the people say that Islam is a uh, religion. It's not a religion. Islam is about peace. Yeah. So there's only one part of that which is true. It is peace when you make peace with your Lord, and that's by submitting to Him. It's not about making peace on the earth. Of course, it'll aid if you abide by it. peace will be on the earth if you abide by the Quran and its edicts and its commandments and its laws and its explanation of how to live this deception of a life that we live, the hoax that we are in, how to live it. It's very simple. It's extremely simple. But people like the complicated, sophisticated examples and complicated way of living. They don't want simplicity. Yeah, simplicity is too boring for them. So that brings them to their knees uh, as far as their understanding is concerned. So it's not about peace. It is about peace as well, like I said. So it's not just about peace. People portray it to be a religion of peace. Yeah, it is not a religion. I mean, first of all, there's no religion unless you define religion as what how you spend your life on a day-to-day basis. That is your way. Yeah, a person who does X, Y, Z, whatever it is, every day, his religion is X, Y, or Z. If he's a banker, his religion is banking. If he's an engineer, his religion is engineering. Yeah. Now, if you treat that as your living on the earth or your sustenance, and it's just a sideshow or a hobby to get your sustenance, then what you do actually, other than that, is your way, which is how it's supposed to be. Your faith, what you believe, and what you do because of what you believe, must be your way, your religion. The rest of it, what you do to sustain yourself on this earth, is just nonsense. And God hasn't told anyone to take up any profession. Have you seen in the Quran that you've read for the last 5, 6 years in depth? Have you seen anywhere where God tells you you have to have a job or work to sustain yourself in this world? I haven't seen that.
No.
Never.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
one job that he tells someone to do for sure in the Quran.
To struggle in his path? Like,
No, he tells his messenger to deliver that job
okay.
is ordained. the,
Okay,
the
got it.
messenger's job is to deliver the message. That is a clear and present, absolute, uh, what do you call it, occupation that is mentioned in the Quran clearly over and over. The messenger
Mhm.
comes to deliver the message, to inform and warn the people he comes to. So on the other side, also, I was thinking the other day, or maybe today, I don't even remember when. But what is the Quran actually? What is it about, the Quran? And the answer is very counterintuitive for most, pretty intuitive for me. The Quran is a book of God, right? That's we accept as believers. Those who don't, they can just say it's a book. But what's in it, I can tell you, as I understand it, and you can correct me from your understanding. Yeah. The Quran is a book of God, obviously. So it's about God. The Quran is about God. And if you look at step back, it's more about God than anyone else.
Yes.
Then you'll call God an egotist, right? Or he is self glorying, right? Obviously, he is. I mean, is he not?
Yes.
He glories himself. Why
Mhm.
not?
Yeah.
If you are gloriable, then why should you be gloried? Obviously, you should be glorified. Yeah. So he tells you to glorify him because he's the one that is true glory. Yeah. The rest of us are rodents, right? Relatively, not even in front of him.
Yes.
So it's a book about God. It's a book of God. It's about God. It's about truth. And it's about lies as well. Yeah. It's about men and it's about demons. It's about the angels more than it's about the men and the demons, if you look into it deeply. It's about the spirit in a very indirect way, which you have to come to a conclusion of what's going on because it is the Holy Spirit talking to you in this book as a messenger and as man or demon. He's the one delivering the message. He's the messenger of God, the highest, the Holy Spirit, Gabriel. So, and what else is it about, you think?
Yeah, I mean, stories of the messengers and all.
It's about the messengers, right?
Yes. Yes.
And the messengers and the prophets. It's about them.
Yes.
It's about the rejectors. It's about the believers. It's
About
about
this.
those who partner. It's about those who are absolute or Muslims to God,
And
complete to
Sa-
God.
and Satan.
It's about Satan. So is it a book of Satan as well? Yeah, of course it is. It's a book of everything. How would a book of God, who is the controller of all things and creator of all things, not have everything in it?
Yep.
Right? It's a book of stars, about the stars. Yeah. It's a book of life. It's a book of death. It's a book of war and it's a book of peace. It's a book of everything, evil and good. It has the lies in it and it has the truth in it. It has the evil in it. It has the good in it. And evenly balanced, if you ask me. Most of the places there's evil, then there's good, and then there's good, and then the next it's evil. It's
Yep.
balanced everywhere. So if you look at how mankind on the earth is today, these morons that call themselves the enlightened democratic forces on the earth, stupid, garbage, ludicrous, insane sociopaths calling other people sociopaths. Well, they are sociopaths and psychopaths, and psychotic schizophrenic people. They will never put the other side in front of you. So I will put both sides. If you see my talk ever, it's always both sides, never one side. I don't just talk about God and not about the evil side of the Satan. I don't talk just about the rejectors and not the believers. I talk about all of them and what each will say. So this is the this is where the book is absolute power, because the book tells you what every rejecter is going to say. And everything he has in his arsenal is already written in the Quran. So if you want to be a good rejecter, you should study the Quran and come up with the right statements, the logic that is the best logic against the logic I bring, which is the logic of God, which is the unseen logic, which cannot be seen, so it cannot be proven, while they bring the seen logic and mutilate it to make you believe some other nonsense.
Yep.
And that was written in the book. It will tell you that exact thing. So this is how the book is. Yeah. So now it has everything in it. So you learn it, you read it with an open mind. I would say open mind to the sense that what's written in it, not open mind to anything. Open your mind to goodness and your heart to God, and you might learn something from the book. If you're going to go into this book to doubt the book, and your preconception is that this is not the book of God, then it will teach you everything about why it's not the book of God in the book of God. And if you go in the book of God on the counter to that, the opposite psychology or thought to that, then the book will teach you why it is the book of God and why it is the absolute truth, and it will show itself to you. This is the power of this book. You don't go into this book with a doubt to a level where God does not accept the doubt, because everyone goes in with some doubt when they don't know anything. But if the doubt level is beyond what God will accept of you, then you will end up doubting. You will not understand anything except what the doubting hypocrites, rejectors are destined to understand, which is all written in this book. And we on the other side have the absolute understanding and truth, and we see them falling for that. And even though we explain to them what's happening to them from the book, by the book, or outside the book, they will not believe it because they've fallen for their thoughts. You don't come with your thoughts to cover the truth. You come with the truth to cover your thoughts. If your thoughts are based on lies, you're lost. If your thoughts are based on truth, you're found. But the truth has to be defined, and the truth is the Quran. The absolute truth from God is the Quran. Absolutely. No doubt about it. It can never be disproven. It will always be proven if you try and uh, rationally prove it with the understanding, the rational understanding. It's not irrational. There's no irrationality of believing in the unseen, yeah, that there is an unseen. There's no irrationality to that. We just think that is irrational. When we tell ourselves that 99% of everything we can't see, yet you can't believe that there's an unseen. I mean, that's just like insane, right? I mean, that in itself is an insane thought.
Mhm.
how can you how can you believe that? that there is no unseen, while you know that 99% they tell you can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you yet believe that, and you won't believe this. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll believe that, and then they'll show you that 90% through their telescopes and all the other nonsense they invent.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is all garbage. So that's fundamentally in a crux what I can tell you. The Quran. You can have another question if you want about it, or something else you want to mention about what the Quran is.
Yeah. So going back to when you said that the book and the wisdom was brought to Abraham, and that's the same book and wisdom that was brought to Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad.
Yep.
And the law was first brought to Moses, and then it's repeated after
Yep.
that.
In the Injil and the Quran, which is what came to Jesus and Muhammad, respectively.
Okay. So when you talk about book and wisdom, can you explain a little?
I mean, it is the information what God wants to give to every messenger and prophet after Abraham, at least. That is the writing of what came of knowledge to Abraham, whatever's in it. And it included the hereafter, what's going to happen, the resurrection, all the other stuff. Because it's not like the books are exactly the same. I mean, the Quran is not exactly the same as the Injil or the Gospel. It's not exactly, because it explains things that happened to them. So, how can that be exactly the same
Yeah.
thing? And then it tells you what you're going to do with itself, because there's no more book coming after this, so it has to leave the knowledge of you're going to do this, so it's telling you what you did with the books before it as mankind. And for the believer, he's going to understand that most people are not going to believe the Quran. Forget about the other books, they are obviously that too. They will not believe, and they will say they believe, and they actually reject. So, in that sense, the Quran is already pre-warning the one who believes that he's going to be in the minority, the abject minority, the most minuscule of all minorities is what the believer is going to be in. The true believer, of course, everybody is a believer. This is also something that is dichotomous, but it's easily explained because all of us believe something. I mean, there's no one who believes nothing, literally. Oh, I don't believe anything. Oh, you believe that you believe nothing, moron.
Yeah.
I mean, this is stupidity. But people will not see this because they're lost in their delusions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what
Exactly.
came in those books. And the wisdom is the wisdom to the ability to unravel that writing of God, which is all the information God has given about what's going to happen. The wisdom is what you need to understand the knowledge or the book or the writing that God brings. And then the law is basically implement the law, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, etc., on and on. A man for a man, a woman for a woman, a slave for a slave, a tooth for a tooth. That is absolutely the same as what came to Moses, but you can forgive. Nobody goes to the act. The Quran clearly states the one who is rejected or given truth, the evil is rejected over him in this world. He does not need to be punished. Even if he killed a soul, the kinsman of that soul can forgive the killer. That's their prerogative. There's no law that you can bring by a constitution or a police force that can overcome the right of the individual that is wronged. And the right of the individual that is wronged is written in the Quran. Even for even, equal for equal. You get the similar evil returned to you, what you perpetrated. The harm that you perpetrate will be allowed over you by the one you harmed, not the police force, not the damn government. These damn governments, they have no rights. You have rights as humans, every one of us, equally in the law of God, all the way up to the messenger, myself. We are all under the same bind of that law. And even if you don't believe this law, it applies to you. They call it karma. Yeah, that's how they explain it away. Oh, karma came back to him. Yeah, karma is going to come back to all of us. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's good karma and bad. So the good I do will come back to me tenfold at least. When the evil I do will only come back to me one fold maximum, and hopefully not, because God will pass over it.
Yeah. And the faith, obviously, the faith has been always the same, to believe with one God and
Yeah,
to serve Him.
That's
right?
always, there's
And
never change,
yeah,
not even with Abraham, even before,
exactly.
all the way before man was created or before demons were created. The angels serve God just like we must serve God, but the angels know they can only serve God. We have an idea that we can serve someone else and get away with it. So
Yeah.
this is a nonsense, yeah.
And also that when we were growing up, I don't remember exactly when, but many times people would say that, oh, these things were for then, they don't
Mm,
apply now,
mm-hmm,
and
mm.
and things
Yeah,
like that. But on the contrary, it's not like that at all. Like this book, like you've explained to us, it's timeless. So
absolutely. I mean, that is a cop out, simply said. When you don't want a thing to be true, you will make a cop out or an excuse why it doesn't apply to you. So you, oh, it was for those times. Now we've progressed, yeah. Now we've become civilized, so we don't need that anymore, yeah. Okay. All right then. Carry on. You can carry on with your nonsense, you
okay.
know.
So when all this truth is there in the book of God, like specifically I'm talking about the Quran, and when people read it and they don't believe it, it is because of their arrogance that they're coming with, or
I mean, obviously, if you don't believe you're arrogant, doesn't matter how you talk. I mean, this arrogance that we say is the way you talk is nonsense, is how you are. When you stand against God and his messengers and the books and deny the hereafter, you're arrogant. You reject the signs of God. You're the arrogant ones. It doesn't matter how you speak, it's your state of being. And hypocrites, they say one thing and they believe another. Hypocrites,
okay.
absolute hypocrites.
So
Total
the
and complete hypocrites people are. They say they believe and they believe nothing. If you believe, then why aren't you doing what's written in the book? It's very clear. It's extremely clear what you want, what it wants you to do. Why aren't you doing it? Same thing to the Christians and the so-called Jews. Why aren't you doing what's written in the Torah and the Injil? If you say you believe and you're a Christian, or why aren't you doing what it says? I mean, the things that it says clearly are pretty clear. The things that it denigrates are clearly written in it, the Torah and the Injil. And talking about that, usury and interest is absolutely forbidden. Yeah, absolutely forbidden.
yeah. So okay, yeah, we can move on to
Yeah.
usury and
Okay.
interest now.
So first of all, let's define usury. Okay, it comes from the word rabehat. Yeah, the growth, reba. The word is reba in Arabic. Yeah, you know this word, right? No.
Not really, but yeah.
So reba is the word in Arabic. It comes from growth. And they will say, well, the trees grow as well. So that's interest. Yeah, that's God's interest. That's not yours. Yeah. So let's define particularly when it talks about usury in the Quran. It means usury and interest is the same thing. I'll put it up in the title, usury slash interest, because they're the same thing. Don't try and confuse yourself and fool yourselves into believing that interest is different than usury. So usury comes from the word of usage. Yeah. When you use something, you get something for it, yeah, or you give something for it. So well, when I give my cow, I charge the guy 2 silver coins every month. So that's usury as well. They'll give you the example of trade as being usury. That's nonsense. The usury God disallows is the usage for money itself, which they've invented from fake nonsense, fiat. Yeah, they're fiat currencies. But the real currency or money is gold and silver. Yeah, the dinar and the dirham, which is gold coin and silver coin, respectively. So these are the currencies that, I mean, the money, which is the currency, and whatever you derive. I mean, okay, now let's go. Okay, let them use this fiat, let them use these fake currencies. Even those currencies, it's forbidden. And because of the usage of usury, the world is at the stage where it's at, and it's been here before. It's not the first time. I mean, it happened with the Weimar Republic back in before World War II, yeah, where the absolute hyperinflation, they used to carry the money in carts to go get bread, yeah, in Germany. It's called the Weimar Republic. You can go read about it. So these things occur because of usury and interest. The inflation has nothing to do. There's no such thing as inflation. I mean, the only thing that you inflate is your ego, and your body inflates from nothing to what you are and then disappears. I mean, the inflation is man made for what things cost. If there was no inflation and you used gold and silver as your money slash currency, and anything you connect to it directly without any leverage or um, how do you say it, uh, double use, so to say. And leverage is basically using it more than once. Yeah, that's what they do with this currency. You make $1 and you print another one. Where'd that come from? Oh, the paper mill. Okay, all right then. So if you don't do any of that, and you want to, because gold is not easy to carry around. Really, gold is very easy to carry around. You've just been made to fear that someone's going to steal your gold. Yeah, are you worried about your gold or your body? That's the nonsense that they will teach you. Yeah. So gold and silver are the currencies. Gold is 10 to 100 times more valuable than silver, usually, yeah, in the norm that we these days about 70, 80 times or something like that, yeah. But that's how it is. The lower denomination is silver, the higher is gold. When you loan these gold coins or silver coins to someone because he wants to purchase something which he cannot barter for through his physical work or other assets that he may have, his animals, his land, whatever else that he owns, then that gold and silver is used to exchange currency, to give money, currency, in exchange for what you want to get. But when you give that gold as a loan to someone, there can be no charge for it at all. This is where interest and usury is forbidden, and this is what they're doing and have been doing forever. I mean, it's not like they started this nonsense 100 years ago or 150 years ago. I mean, the Jews were forbidden this back in the time of Moses. And they used to do it before as well. But when God, certainly when he sent Moses with the Torah, it is absolutely forbidden. The law of God forbids usury. So you loan 10 coins of gold or 10 ounces, let's make it simple. 10 ounces will be returned to you. Oh, but then how will the banks make money? Right. You don't make money, banks. You banks are wretched, satanic instruments of nonsense today. They should be simple instruments of exchange. How someone can trust an exchange to bring his coin and put it there, and someone else can take the same coin somewhere else in the world. It's an exchange. That's it. But who's going to maintain it? Any idiot. It doesn't require much to maintain that nonsense. Yeah, and when we didn't have internet, we had telex and telegram services. Yeah, not the app. There used to be actual telegram services. Back then, we had phones, we had radios. I mean, like communication. But you just have to trust that people are going to work in the righteous way and truthfully in this. That's why you trust the banks to do that, although they're doing absolutely the opposite of it. I mean, you deposit your money and it doesn't belong to you anymore. If you read the fine print in your account opening, the money doesn't belong to you. It belongs to them, and they loan it back to you. So they don't keep it in a vault back there, your money. It's all back in circulation, earning interest for the bank. And then they tell you, oh, we'll give you a savings account with 1% interest. Wow, great, thank you. You're eating fire if you do that. So this is what's forbidden. This is usually, and it's forbidden. Now, if you step back and look, if it's forbidden and we actually forbid it, then the world's problems will go away today. Because now you will worry about having what you need, not the money to get what you need. So then you will work on growing food, getting your water organized, making a shelter for yourself. What about progress? There's no progress needed. Everything that we needed was on the earth before we came here. We are the one destroying it. Look at what's happening to the water supply on the earth today. And this is rampant. It's not in one place or the other. Rivers are drying up, lakes are drying up. Who is making this happen? They will give you all sorts of nonsense that it is the global warming and climate change and all man made nonsense. No, it's because God is doing it and He's paying you back for what you've been doing. And it's going to get worse as time goes on. There's no doubt in that. It's going to get really, really bad. And we have to be ready to put up with that nonsense as well, to deal with it, because it's going to be nonsensical, but it makes total sense why it's happening. Yeah. So that's where interest and usury is. Now I'll bring up this place in the Quran where
It says, like, in one sign I
yeah,
was, I think, reading, I think in chapter 4, yes, that whatever good comes to you is from God, and whatever evil comes to you is from what do your hands, or
yeah, and
something
from
like
your
that.
souls both.
And
Yeah,
from your soul,
exactly.
yeah,
From what
yeah.
send forth your
So,
hands and
yeah,
what your souls bring. Yeah. So
yeah.
nothing evil comes from God, although all evil comes from God. But
Hmm.
because you choose that evil, you got to
Yeah,
choose evil to come to you for God to send that evil to you. And that's what they're doing today on the
yeah,
earth, without
yeah.
a doubt. So if you go to chapter 2, where is the main place where this is mentioned, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Do you see it?
Yes, I can see the sign.
Okay, great. So those they eat the usury, not they stand except like what he stands, the one he addresses him, the Satan, from the touch. So you've been touched by Satan if you take usury, and we are all part of this usury system. Yeah, so we have to ask forgiveness of God that we partake in this usury. To some, of course, I don't take interest directly, I don't go running after interest, but because you hold a currency in your hand today, you are part of the usurious, interest based satanic system. That which surely they say, surely what the trade, example of the usury, which I explained to you, and allows the God the trade and disallows the usury. And allows is halal and disallows is haram. They make this word halal,
Mm.
haram, some secret word. It basically means disallowed or forbidden, haram or sanctified, and halal is allowed, what you can do. But one comes to him instruction from his Lord, but stops, but to him what passed, and his command to the God. So when it comes to you instruction, which is coming now, has been coming forever with every messenger, and one who transgresses, but they companions of the fire, they in her living perpetually. So understand how wretched usury is in the eyes of God. Just this one sentence, yeah, yeah. And
Yes.
then it goes on, and then the believers are warned. O you, those who believe, not just the believers, those who believe, fear the God and leave what remains from the usury if you be believers. So to become a believer, you got to obey the command. So obey this command to become a believer. If not, you do, but hear with war from the God and his messengers. And if you turn, but to you heads of your wealth. Don't you wrong, and not will you be wronged. So see this? You will get the capital back. Yeah. If you give up usury, you can take your capital back. So if you give 100 X, whatever currency, or 100 coins of gold or silver, you will get those back. And he goes on to say what, and if are with difficulty, but look towards ease. So the guys you loan, obviously, the people who take loans are in need of taking loans for some reason. Yeah. So if you see them in difficulty, look towards when they're ease, so they'll give you back your money. Don't go killing them, right? And that you be truthful better to you, if you are, knowing. So be truthful means just give it up, man. The wealth is worth nothing. If you can, of course, if you need the wealth. I mean, if you need the wealth, why would you be loaning it out?
Yes.
Right? So it's all simply logical what God does. Yeah. So another place, another place it's mentioned is this reprimand of the so-called Jews. Yeah. But with wrongdoing from those who Jews, we forbade over them good allowed to them, and with their stopping over path of the God much. So now you look at the so-called Muslims, they are bigger Jews than the Jews themselves. They have forbidden everything allowed to them in the book
Yep.
because they're wrongdoing like the Jews did. Yeah, understand this. And they're taking the usury, and had they been stopped over it, and they're eating wealth of the mankind with the wrong, and we prepare to the rejectors from them punishment grievous. So keep taking the usury, the punishment is, I mean, it's obviously coming in front of you. Yeah. So this is basically what the usury is talked about, and so vehemently it is lambasted and called a wicked, evil way of living on the earth. And that's what we're doing, all of us. And this disaster that's coming upon us today is because fundamentally the system is based on this stupid, crappy US dollar, euro, whatever, rupiah, whatever system that you have on the earth. And it is all based on printing so called money out of thin air, and then charging interest on it. And then to pay back the interest, they print more money, and it's controlling your lives. If you give up this money system and go back to gold and silver, your all your problems will go away that are in front of you, especially your economic problems. Yeah, this is economy nonsense. What economy? There's no such thing as economic progress. Their whole economy and progression of economy is based on money printing and putting money as the thing that determines how much you've grown. Yeah, the company grows because it makes more fake numbers, or does it make more things? Today, fake numbers. The
Yes.
things don't matter. I mean, they're losing their. I mean, some companies are worth billions of these fake so-called dollars, and they're producing nothing. And this is the way things work in this satanic, totally convoluted and inverted system of life that we have implemented on the earth over the last 100 odd years. Yeah. So that's where this usury must go to the trash. The banks must all be trashed. The central banks must be obliterated, destroyed. And the buildings not, yeah, just their systems. They must be destroyed, dismantled, completely disbanded. And the buildings you can use for something else, maybe the system to exchange actual money, which is gold and silver. Yeah. And to account that is the true money on the earth, and everything else is wealth that you have: your land, your animals, your women, your children. Everything is wealth on the earth. Yeah, I mean, we barter we barter ourselves for this cash, don't we?
Yes.
So what, you're selling yourself for this fake money? That's what you're doing on the earth. Why don't you sell yourself for getting something real like gold or land or a house? But no, you got to get these fake numbers to then pay some idiot to get the house. I mean, what nonsense is that? I mean, we
Yeah.
should be making food, building our own houses. I mean, we've been made into absolute imbeciles that can't do a thing for ourselves. This whole progression that we've been through in the last 60, 80 years has made us retards, all of us. We don't have
Yes.
the ability to do anything. And that's how they've wanted it. Now that we see, oh, what do we do? How do we get our food when the supermarket runs out of food? Well, you should have learned when you were 10, 12, 13, 20 years old and made your farm. Oh, but they used to do it 100 years ago. We used to call them retarded and backward. Yeah, okay. You'll soon be there wanting to learn all that again when this whole shit show comes falling down on our head soon. Yeah.
Yeah, and they make gold and silver. If like I'm talking about the general governments and people and all that, like an old man's relic, like
Yeah.
absolutely no value. And but inside they're all collecting gold. They
Yep.
know that it's. But to the general public, they make them feel like having gold and silver is like not a good idea. Better to buy houses and. Take loans for your
Yeah.
shops or
I mean, the
whatever.
only reason the house prices are going up is because they print money, and the stocks, because they print the money to make them go up. How can a house be twice as much as it cost when it's the same building actually decaying?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. They have based all their economy on
Mhm.
housing and their financial markets. And that will bring it all down because there's nothing backing it. House is a necessity. It shouldn't be bartered in a way that it is leveraged to make your living off of it. Yeah. I mean, you should live in it, not off of it. And you should make your living while living in it. They buy and sell houses to make a living out of it. It's nonsense. These houses are not worth a tenth of the so-called fake currency they're gauged in, measured in. They're not worth a tenth of it. They're probably worth a hundredth of that. Maybe a tenth. I would say a tenth of it. Yeah, not more than that.
Sometimes I have heard, like, correct me, I don't know if this is right that I've heard or not, but sometimes in the so called Muslim world and all, they say that it's okay in certain conditions to take a mortgage and things like that. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, you can take a loan, but this mortgage is absolutely, absolutely, totally, completely illegal and disallowed in the way of God, because you're involved directly in interest. And I took it once for 3 years. I got to accept
Mhm.
that as well. And I learned more when I took it. The first time I ever took a loan was then. And I'm like, this is how they make money, because I saw what they were doing. You take a mortgage, and 90% plus of what you pay them every month is just interest. You've just, and the word mortgage is a death pledge in Latin, comes from the Latin word to make a death pledge. And when you look at the mortgages they have for 30 years, it's no less than
Yeah.
a death pledge. So they've told you what's happening, and you don't want to look at it because it's bringing you your desires. Yeah, they're following your desires. You want the house now. You don't want to wait 5-10 years to save up and get a little house. You want the mansion today. And that's the hastiness of man that will drive him insane, that the guy next door has it and I don't, so I must go get it as well. I mean, you got to be content with what you have. Everybody is not created equal. Everybody does not get the same wealth. Everybody is not with the same intellect. Everybody is not a messenger of the God like me. Most of you are not.
Yep.
So, what are you going to do? You're going to envy the other and be jealous, and you're going to take your soul into the gutter, and into total uh, annihilation,
I
self
get it.
annihilation.
Burn in the fire in the hereafter.
And
Yeah.
well, that's obviously the worst place that you will end up. I mean, jealousy and envy is a feeling as well, and the Quran explains it. That we have jealousy and we have envy. We must fight it. We must accept that we're not going to get everything that everyone else gets. Be happy with what you have, and try and get what you want, not because someone else has it, but because you want it. Yeah. I mean, someone else might have it and say, oh, I want that as well. Not because he has it, but because you also want it. They want it because he has it, not because they want or need it. And why do you want things? You should need things more than you want things.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Can you also please bring up that sign that I did not say correctly of chapter 4, that whatever good like comes to you from God,
Okay. Let me
whatever comes.
on the God. It's in chapter 4.
Yes.
Oops. Let me find this. It's going to take a little bit. Okay, so chapter 4. Uh-huh. Okay. What comes to you from good but from the God? That's the one.
Yes.
Okay, let me bring this up. Or let's see if this is the one first. Yeah, this is the one, yeah? You can see it.
Yes.
Okay, so here, let's start from where what you be, it will overtake you, the death. And if you be in a constellation covered, there's no escape from death, in other words. And if she comes to them good, they say, this from within the God. And if she comes to them evil, they say this within you. So you blame me for the evil that comes to you, and from what good comes to you is from you. And I say to you, all from within the God. But what these the people, not they can, they comprehend a story. It's all from God. You choose to get the evil, which is from your soul. Okay, but it comes from God. Obviously, everything is from God. What comes to you from good, but from the God, and what comes to you from evil, but from your soul. Okay, it comes from God, but your soul desires it, the evil. Okay, and you must understand there's evil in your soul. And we sent you to the mankind a messenger, and enough with the God witnessing. That, he's telling me here, the messenger. And God is saying they don't need to witness, you are. God is witnessing. One, he obeys the messengers, but has obeyed the God. And one turns away, but not we sent you over them a guard. Okay, so this is the reality of God. uh, he doesn't give a damn what you think about his messenger. When he makes the messenger, he's the messenger. Yeah. So Imran asked, can we mortgage our souls to the God? i mean death pledge your soul to God, sure. Hey, there's no need to. He's going to kill you anyways, whether you make a death pledge to God or not. He's going to take your soul. It belongs to him. So the soul and everything else belongs to God. You can't say that the soul belongs to you. It's under your possession. You are under your own possession of the soul. You have power over yourself, which God has given. But he has power and control over you as a soul. He owns you. I've been saying this in the last few months or so, and we are all owned by God, the Satan included, and all evil and all good, and all good men and all evil men, and all good women and all even evil women. They're all owned by God. The Satans, the demons, the angels, the Holy Spirit, everything is owned by God. There's no patent anybody can bring for anything, even if He creates it. Whatever you create on the earth, the patent belongs to God. No one can hold a patent on anything. On anything. Yeah, you can say, I made it, and people must accept you did it, but you can't like keep it to yourself saying, oh, if you now use this, you got to pay me usury on this. Yeah. You got to pay me money because I made this. Yeah. Nonsense. If I can make what you've made or replicate that, I don't owe you anything. Thanks for showing me how to do it, but bye bye now. you know I'm gonna use it for myself, for my own benefit. I might improve on it, and I might keep it to myself what I improve, or I might give it back to you as well what I improve, to tell you how to get your act together and make it better. Yeah, this is how things are. It's not like we make anything. We don't create anything. We do, but it's all created by God. We just figure out how to create it. That's all. That's all we do. We figure out how to mutilate our creation around us to make it better. Yeah. I love this. We've got perfect seedless melons now. Yeah. We've created seedless watermelons. We've created perfect tomatoes. Every one is exactly the same as the next one. Yeah. And that's what they're trying to do with man as well. Yeah. They want everyone to be exactly the same as the other, while they tell you and show you your individuality, and everybody is his own caretaker and his own individual sovereign. Nonsense. It's all inverted. Whatever they're telling you they're doing, just invert it, and that's what they're actually doing to you. Yeah. And that's the way, I see that part. I hope the answer is sufficient enough for our sole questioner here. Yeah.
Yeah. So
What
yeah.
else?
No, that's it. Like there were a few signs that I had bookmarked when I was thinking that what we would talk about.
Yeah.
But I think you have explained pretty much everything. Like there was one sign. I think it's in chapter. I think just give me 1 second. But I think you've already covered it about the book in tongue Arabic clear, like
Yeah.
that
I
sign.
didn't say it today. You bring it. Tell me where it is. I'll bring it up. Which chapter?
Um, it's in chapter, just let me confirm. Yes, it's in chapter 46
Mm-hmm.
and it's sign number 12.
Okay, so let's bring it up and then you tell me what you want to confirm here. All right. So, and from before it, Book of Moses, leader and mercy. And this book confirms tongue Arabic to its warning those who wrong and information to the beneficent.
Okay.
So, so what do you want clarification on this one?
So leader and mercy, like obviously I understand mercy part, but if you could talk a little about the leader.
The book is the leader. The book of Moses is the leader. She is the leader. It's a feminine. The word Torah in Arabic is a feminine word, so it's called she. She is the leader of these two books that came after her, which is the Injil and the Quran. And she is the leader in mercy, the book of Moses. And this book confirms it. So it's this obviously, if that was the leader in mercy, this is also the leader in mercy, right? Because it's confirming the leader in mercy. You
Yep.
get it?
Yep.
To its
Yep.
warning those who wrong and information to the beneficent. You read it and it's telling you you're wrong and you're doing that and you continue doing that, it's warned you. You're going to hell now. Yeah, just
Yep.
like I have told people what the reality is. If they don't want to listen to it, it's not my problem. I have presented it. I have presented the reality to people, and if they don't want to abide by it, that is their decision, their choice, and they will have to pay reparations for it in hell. I'm not going to be held responsible for anyone who rejects. I will not be questioned over anyone who rejects this book. I can call them whatever name I want, or whatever kind of animal I want to call them, I can call them, or whatever name I can call them for rejecting this book with clarity. When I see them clearly rejecting this book, I have absolute authority to curse them in any way, shape, or form that I want. And nothing, absolutely nothing will be asked of me. Not a thing.
Yep. And also talk going back to the Quran, can you also clarify that the Muslims uh, they
So-called
say
Muslims, you mean?
okay,
They are
yes,
not Muslims. Don't call, I
okay,
mean, it's really bad. It's like, oh my God, I have to call them Muslims because they call themselves Muslims? No. These idiots who call themselves Muslims and who are not. Yes, go ahead.
okay. The so-called Muslims they say that the Quran was written, I don't know, 80, 100 years after Muhammad
Came
was
and went,
not
yeah.
there.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. God,
and
let's
they
hold on. Yeah. So you want to know, was it written after 80, 90, 100 years?
no, I know the truth. I know
Okay.
the truth because you've explained it to me and I've been paying attention. It's not that I have suddenly forgotten, but I do want you to talk a little about that too.
So, yeah, I mean, the Quran was written while Muhammad was here. And it was written in 10 nights of one of the months of Ramadan, when the angels and the Spirit descended in 10 nights of that month, even in odd nights of that month of Ramadan, the month that they did the contention, the great, the Hajj al Akbar in Jerusalem. It wasn't in Mecca, it was in Jerusalem. The Hajj is to Jerusalem, not Mecca. And that's when the angel descended with the Spirit and brought this Quran in those 10 nights after Muhammad has overcome the rejectors with the will of God, and they had captured all of the land that God wanted to capture. And the angels and the Spirit came and decided. And after that, they told him, now run, the others. You will be caught and massacred now. That's when the real war began, after the Quran was revealed in its entirety. Yeah, the revelations were coming to Muhammad for 20 odd years before that. But once the Quran was finalized, after that, the rejectors and the partnering, the Christians, etc., were told, run now. You have 4 months. Then we're coming to get you. Or turn back to this book and accept you are retarded and become believers and become actual Muslims. Yeah, that you were when Jesus was here and when Moses was here. Well, not most of them. Most of them say they're submitting to God. Nobody really submits to God. They just submit to their own desires, yeah, or to fear of repercussion. These people are Muslims because they fear if they're not, they'll be killed. Yeah, they don't even understand what a Muslim is. So yeah, the Quran did not come after Muhammad died. It came while he was alive, 100%. It was brought down by the angel and the spirit dictated it. And the people who were sleeping for 309 years, the example is in the Quran in chapter 18, they came out and they wrote this Quran. How many of them were there? I don't know. Muhammad knows, I don't. Yeah. So they're the ones who wrote the Quran. You think, I mean, I'm just giving an example that Aaron was there with the sons of Israel when Moses went up for 40 nights to the meeting with God. Yeah. And he came down in 40 nights, and these guys were already astray, while the messenger prophet of God, Aaron, was amongst them. You think he's going to leave these next guys who are not even as graced as the sons of Israel? The Arabs are nowhere near the grace of the
Hmm.
sons of Israel. They are the highest graced of God, are the sons of Israel. The line of Jacob is the highest graced amongst mankind. They are the chosen ones, absolutely, it's the truth. But they don't choose to be the chosen ones. They choose to be the chosen ones that are going to go to hell, not the chosen ones that are going to go to the garden. So you think God would leave these guys to take care of writing the Quran after 100 years of Muhammad's departure? I mean, are you kidding? You know. So yeah, that should explain it, right?
Yes, exactly. I wanted you to talk about that because, I mean, they say that and it makes no sense at all. Like,
Yeah,
it's
because
like,
it's nonsense. When
yeah,
it's nonsense, it can make no sense, and
yes.
everything they say is nonsense.
Yeah, and the book is perfect. The Quran is
Absolutely.
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
perfect. And
It
yeah,
continues to prove itself to be the most beautiful book ever uh, available on the earth, at least. Yeah,
yeah,
right after the Torah and the Injil, which are just as beautiful
yeah,
and just as fantastic and unbelievable as the Quran is in their original forms.
that's correct.
Unfortunately, we must wait. We must wait for the Messiah Jesus, to return and show us once again that these three books are going to rule over you, whether you like it or not.
Yep,
You have to accept that.
yep.
Anyway,
Anyway.
are we good?
Yes, we're good.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Ciao.
Salam.